Hey, Pelvic Posse, and welcome to the Empower Your Pelvis Podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Empower Your Pelvis Podcast. I'm Dr. Amina Fisher here today. I've got the lovely Sydney with me. Sid has been a patient here at Empower Your Pelvis for a little bit of time. I'll let her go into more detail in that. But Sid, it's good to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
She has become a dear friend of mine, and I want her to share just a little bit about herself this morning. So Sid, take it away.
Good morning. This is my first podcast appearance, maybe my last too. But yeah, my name's Sydney. I started coming to the clinic about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
My husband is a big fan of Amanda, as am I, and we just had our first baby. He is now 8 weeks and he is such a little dream. And before we had him, we had 2 fur dogs. So we have fur babies. They're both dogs. 2 golden retrievers that are the very, very sweetest.
They're adorable. And Sid, what is the number one question or the number one thing if you had to choose to tell your bestie or someone on the street of what you would recommend for postpartum? What would that be?
This is very top of mind for me because I'm currently struggling through the aftermath of this, but everyone will tell you to rest. Like your doctors will tell you to rest. Your friends will tell you to rest. Your mom will tell you to rest. And honestly, I was like on board with that. I was totally fine with that. But I honestly thought that I only needed to do that like if I felt bad. So I was like, great, I'll rest if I feel bad. But you get home and you have all this adrenaline and you're like, well, I can do the dishes. I can do the laundry. And I wasn't obviously ready to like go outside and run or anything. I knew better than that, but I didn't know that you should rest even if you felt okay. And so, I get home and I'm doing all these things. And then 4 days later, I was like, oh God, I can't sit down. I came into the clinic to see the lactation consultant. I wasn't even here to see Amanda, but she stopped by to see me and she's like, I think that you're in pain. I can tell you're in pain. And so I caused myself so many problems and I wish that I could do that over. And so I would say, even though you're hyped up on adrenaline, you're like, I can do this. My baby's home. I just did this awesome thing. Literally sit down, like let people bring you food, let people do your dishes or let your dishes sit in the sink, let people do your laundry or let that sit away. Like none of that is important. I mean, I don't know how long you're supposed to sit, but I wish I had sat down for like 2 weeks, just literally hung out.
Yeah. Walking's good too, but walking can be, sometimes we get patients in that push it a little too far. Did you ever feel like you did that at all?
I don't want to admit this to you. Did. We got home that weekend. It was like our neighborhood's garage sale weekend.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I can do this. Well, so yeah, I think I did that to myself.
It's okay to admit. It's okay. We've got to admit to know our awareness and what not to do next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely think I did that.
All right, guys, we're going to have Sydney back on the show if you're good with that. And this is not your last appearance in the podcast. You get a second round. So we'll have her back on the show to answer more questions. So thank you so much for being here and look forward to hearing from you soon.
Cool. Thanks.
Hey, Pelvic Posse. I want to thank you so much for joining into this week's episode of the Empower Your Pelvis Podcast. Can I ask you a couple of favors, please? Number 1, can you like and subscribe to this podcast so that you can continue to empower your pelvis forever so that you will never miss out? Number 2, can you leave us a rating and a review telling them how amazing we are and everything that you have learned about your pelvic health? And then number 3, if you haven't seen the video version of this podcast, you can go over to youtube.com/C/Empower Your Pelvis for all your visual learners out there. We have all types of great visuals in there for you to not only listen to, but to also watch. Thank you so much again, and make sure to give your pelvis some love. Until next time, peace out, Pelvic Posse.